There is only one corner of the universe you can be certain of improving, and that's your own self. There are things known, and there are things unknown, and in between are the doors of perception. After silence, that which comes nearest to expressing the inexpressible is music. The secret of genius is to carry the spirit of the child into old age, which means never losing your enthusiasm. It is a bit embarrassing to have been concerned with the human problem all one's life and find at the end that one has no more to offer by way of advice than try to be a little kinder. That men do not learn very much from the lessons of history is the most important of all the lessons of history. Beauty is worse than wine, it intoxicates both the holder and beholder. Technological progress has merely provided us with more efficient means for going backwards. Experience is not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens to you. To travel is to discover that everyone is wrong about other countries. To his dog, every man is Napoleon, hence the constant popularity of dogs. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you mad. God isn't compatible with machinery and scientific medicine and universal happiness. You must make your choice. Our civilization has chosen machinery and medicine and happiness. The more powerful and original mind, the more it will incline towards the religion of solitude. The propagandist's purpose is to make one set of people forget that certain other sets of people are human. An intellectual is a person who's found one thing that's more interesting than sex. Cynical realism is the intelligent man's best excuse for doing nothing in an intolerable situation. The charm of history and its enigmatic lesson consist in the fact that, from age to age, nothing changes, and yet everything is completely different. Perhaps it's good for one to suffer. Can an artist do anything if he's happy? Would he ever want to do anything? What is art, after all, but a protest against the horrible inclemency of life? Facts do not cease to exist because they are ignored. There isn't any formula or method. You learn to love by loving, by paying attention, and doing what one thereby discovers has to be done. Great is truth, but still greater, from a practical point of view, is silence about truth, by simply not mentioning certain subjects. Totalitarian propagandists have influenced opinion much more effectively than they could have by the most eloquent denunciations. Most ignorance is vincible ignorance. We don't know because we don't want to know. The most shocking fact about war is that its victims and its instruments are individual human beings, and that these individual beings are condemned by the monstrous conventions of politics to murder or be murdered in quarrels not their own. Consistency is contrary to nature, contrary to life. The only completely consistent people are dead. Hell isn't merely paved with good intentions. It's walled and roofed with them, yes, and furnished too. The most valuable of all education is the ability to make yourself do the thing you have to do when it has to be done, whether you like it or not. People intoxicate themselves with work so they won't see how they really are. Everyone who wants to do good to the human race always ends in universal bullying. A democracy which makes or even effectively prepares for modern scientific war must necessarily cease to be democratic. No country can be really well prepared for modern war unless it is governed by a tyrant at the head of a highly trained and perfectly obedient bureaucracy. A childlike man is not a man whose development has been arrested. On the contrary, he is a man who has given himself a chance of continuing to develop long after most adults have muffled themselves in the cocoon of middle-aged habit and convention. A belief in hell and the knowledge that every ambition is doomed to frustration at the hands of a skeleton have never prevented the majority of human beings from behaving as though death were no more than an unfounded rumor. It was one of those evenings when men feel that truth, goodness, and beauty are one in the morning when they commit their discovery to paper. When others read it written there, it looks wholly ridiculous. Children are remarkable for their intelligence and ardor, for their curiosity, their intolerance of shams, the clarity and ruthlessness of their vision. I'm afraid of losing my obscurity. Genuineness only thrives in the dark, like celery. My fate cannot be mastered. It can only be collaborated with, and thereby, to some extent, directed. Nor am I the captain of my soul. I am only its noisiest passenger. Most human beings have an almost infinite capacity for taking things for granted. The worst enemy of life, freedom, and the common decencies is total anarchy. Their second worst enemy is total efficiency. One of the great attractions of patriotism, it fulfills our worst wishes. In the person of our nation, we are able vicariously to bully and cheat. Bully and cheat, what's more, with a feeling that we are profoundly virtuous. Proverbs are always platitudes until you have personally experienced the truth of them. Like every man of sense and good feeling, I abominate work. All gods are homemade, and it is we who pull their strings. And so, give them the power to pull ours. Idealism is the noble toga that political gentlemen drape over their will to power. Sons have always a rebellious wish to be disillusioned by that which charmed their fathers. Habit converts luxurious enjoyments into dull and daily necessities.